Guys, if you love the C's, you've come to the right place. Go down, hit that big red subscribe button for the best Boston Celtics coverage on YouTube. I am Will Scott. Welcome in to Celtics Today. We have some news that has broke in the National Basketball Association. The Brooklyn Nets will not be hiring suspended Celtics coach Ime Udoka. Charania reported the news, and here's what he said. The Brooklyn Nets hire Jacque Vaughn, who of course was the interim coach after they fired Steve Nash last week. They move on from a potential hire of Ime Udoka after a series of factors that were the result of the due diligence process. Here's what he reported in his article in The Athletic. The Nets changed course from their initial plan to hire Udoka due to several factors, multiple sources with direct knowledge of the situation told The Athletic. These factors include an investigation and due diligence process by the Nets into the suspended coach, taking longer than initially expected. The outcry after word of their plan became known to people outside and inside the organization, and the short and long-term question marks around the team's ability to contend in the Eastern Conference as a result of the indefinite suspension of Irving. We'll talk more about the Irving suspension in a second, maybe how that factored in. But, of course, last week we heard that Ime Udoka was going to Brooklyn, that it was a done deal, that it was going to be finalized. I think a lot of us were wondering throughout much of last week and the start of this week, why hasn't that hire been finalized yet? We find out today they promote Jacque Vaughn. He's 2-2 as the interim. Now he's the permanent head coach in Brooklyn, and Ime Udoka is still technically on the Celtics payroll. But I don't think Udoka is going to coach again because you look at the situation here, and yeah, I'm sure the Irving situation factored in into them not even wanting to create more drama within the organization. But as Shams reported, they did their due diligence. They found out more about the situation. There's a lot about the situation that we do not know, but it does look bad from the outside. Probably a lot worse than initially expected here in terms of the initial reports that we heard about it being an affair, but then we're hearing rumors that it was a lot more. There was a lot more to it. So there's a lot that we do not know, but I do not think Ime Udoka is going to coach in the NBA again. Woj disagrees with me, though. Here's what he said. Ime Udoka will coach again in the NBA. He may coach as soon, if not this season, somewhere else next season. I think plenty of teams, just in preparation, have started to do their due diligence on the Udoka situation. You know, Woj could be right. I'm sure there are going to be interested teams here. But the Nets did their due diligence. Woj mentions that other teams will do their due diligence, but the Nets did that, and they decided not to hire him based on what they found. Guys, do you think Ime Udoka is going to be an NBA head coach again? I'm going to type in for no. I mean, obviously, I think it's possible. I'm going to say there's a 0% chance that he coaches the Boston Celtics again, even though he's still technically on staff as a suspended coach. But go down in the comments section. It's the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down, chime in, type Y for yes or type in for no down in the comments section. Guys, today's show is sponsored by Established Titles. We'll tell you more about them in a second. First, let's take a look at the timeline here. So it's pretty wild, right? November 1st, around noon, the Nets fired Steve Nash. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, I wonder if Ime Udoka is a candidate there. Comes out about 30 minutes later that he is. It's reported by Shams, Woj, then Ime Udoka is very much in the mix. Then, an hour and a half after that, roughly, Ime Udoka is set to be hired. Woj tweets that it's going to be finalized in the next 24 to 48 hours. Shams is reporting he's the front runner and is going to get hired, but then we don't hear anything for a week. And in this week, the Nets are doing their due diligence. They find what they find. They decide to promote Jacque Vaughn. Sure, I'm sure the reasons that they have, I'm not saying that Jacque Vaughn got promoted just because of what they found on Ime Udoka. They believe Jacque Vaughn can be a good coach. He's a great defensive coach. The defense for the Nets has certainly improved in his 4 games that he's taken over. But obviously the main reason that they promoted Vaughn is what they found doing their due diligence on Ime Udoka. Like I said, today's show is sponsored by Established Titles, and you can save an extra 10% on the perfect holiday gift if you go to establishedtiles.com/chat. Established Tiles is a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. Is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds, lords, or lays in English. Title Pack's going to give you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land. We're flying over my land right now over there in Edelston, Scotland. How cool is that? You're going to get a unique plot number on a private estate in Edelston and an official certificate with the crest. They plant a tree with every order and work with global charities such as One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future to support global reforestation efforts. Look at that. I'm Lord William Scott now. That's pretty cool. And you can officially include the title Lord or Lady on your credit card, plane tickets, dating profiles, etc. Makes for a great last-minute gift. And in fact, the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be right next to my plot within a few minutes of walking distance. Depending on how many of you want to become a Lord or Lady, we can begin to build our own Celtics kingdom over there in Scotland. That's really cool. Established Titles is running a massive Black Friday sale right now with deals up to 80% off, and you're going to save an extra 10% on the perfect holiday gift. You go to that link and type in promo code CHAT. Great way to support the channel by going to that link. Go grab a plot of Scottish land right next to me and become a Lord or a Lady today. That link and the promo code going to be in the comments and description of this video. So we just talked about the Shams report. Let's talk about the ESPN report now. This is what they reported. The Nets backed off an initial plan to hire Udoka based on several factors, including a prolonged anti-Semitism controversy with Kyrie Irving, coupled with the impending disruption that would have come with the hiring of Udoka in the aftermath of his suspension in Boston for an improper relationship with a female subordinate, sources told Adrian Wojnarowski. So the Celtics, let's go back to last week, just the reports we heard last week when the Nets were going to hire him. They were going to let Ime walk without any compensation. And I thought the reason they didn't fire Ime was because they wanted to trade him either at some point this season or after the season and get a pick for him. But they weren't going to do that. They were going to let him walk, probably because they want to be done with him. But then why just wouldn't you fire him? This makes no sense to me how Ime Udoka is still technically on the Boston Celtics staff. If it was as bad as we think it probably was, fire him, cut him loose. You were going to let him go to Brooklyn just last week with no compensation in return. Personally, I probably would have tried to get a draft pick for him. But it just makes no sense why you wouldn't fire him. The whole situation is just so confusing. And we heard the players say last week, man, he's going to go to one of our biggest rivals to coach, and we still don't know anything about the situation. Kind of sounds like the players are in a similar boat to us. They don't know anything. We don't know anything. All we know that it was bad enough to suspend him for a year. Guys, let's stop talking about Ime for now. Let's talk about the game tonight. If you want the Celtics to win tonight against the Pistons, go down, like the video, hit that thumbs up icon if you want the Celtics to get their 4th straight win. They're coming in with 3 straight. And let's get into tonight's game. Celtics coming in with 3 straight wins. They're 7-3, hosting the Detroit Pistons at TD Garden. They come in 3-8 on the season. But make no mistake, they have a lot of star power, especially young star power on this Pistons team, led by their point guard, second-year point guard, former number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham. He comes in averaging 21.4 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, and 6.4 assists per game. Bogdanović's going to be a problem. You got to watch for this guy on the wing. He's a good three-point shooter, shooting nearly 47% from 3 this season, averaging nearly 20 points per game. This Sadiq Bey, man, might be the most underrated player in the NBA. He's coming in averaging 17 points per game. But the MVP right now is Jayson Tatum. And I get it, it's early, but through the first 10 games, he's certainly leading the MVP race in the NBA, 31.2 points per game. Jaylen Brown's having a good year as well, 25 points per game. And then Malcolm Brogdon, I think, is the early front runner for 6th man of the year, averaging nearly 15 points per game this season. Guys, I want to know, who do you got tonight? Do you have the Celtics or do you have the Pistons? Type BOS or type DET down in the comments section. Go down, let me know. Of course, I got to ride with the C's, man. The Pistons are scrappy. They might present a tough test, but the Celtics pull away in the end to win by double digits. Guys, go down and subscribe to the channel. We bring you multiple Celtics videos every single week. Go down, hit that big red subscribe button.